Well, I'm Charles Ritzer. I'm a retired consultant physician, and I have been interested in the problems of blood coagulation and its disorders since I was a student, since 1955. And as a consequence of that, I came down to Oxford in the late 1950s as a research fellow with Professor Macfarlane and Dr. Rosemary Biggs and Ethel Bidwell, and did some research into haemophilia because that was my main interest then. One of the joys of working with Professor Macfarlane and Rosemary Biggs was their open-mindedness on many topics, and every morning we sat in the kitchen drinking coffee, and in the afternoon in the kitchen again where the washing up lady was washing tubes, and drink tea. And all kinds of things were discussed. Ideas were thrown about. Everybody from the most junior technician, most junior nurse, to the most senior visiting American research fellow was invited to talk about interesting subjects. And if something cropped up, as happened to me once, I suggested something, Macfarlane said, "That's a good idea. Go and put it in the fish queue." So I said, "The fish queue?" I said, "What's the fish queue?" He says, "The ideas book." "Where is the fish queue?" He says, "The fish queue is full of red herring. That's why we call it the fish queue." And this was the book. It was his book, which he started in the middle 1940s, in which people were encouraged, or anybody was encouraged, to write in their suggestions for experiments. And this was one of the aspects about working with those senior people was they enjoyed their work. It was fun. Macfarlane thought research should be fun. And he used to do some very, very strange experiments just for the fun of it to see how it would work out. Professor Macfarlane was, everyone admits and says, he was the ideas man. He had super ideas. He clocked onto everything, and immediately you can see his eyes twinkling, and he's a good idea. But Rosemary Biggs was the one at the water bath who really ground out the details of the methods and got on showing what the defect in haemophilia was with Macfarlane and others. There were other research fellows with them. But Rosemary Biggs wanted to take it outside the laboratory. She wanted to see it applied in the management of boys and men with haemophilia. She says, "What's the point of doing all this expensive research if it doesn't leave the laboratory?" I think a lot of it was to do with the personality of Gwyn Macfarlane and of Rosemary Biggs, and of course Ethel Bidwell, who made many of the preparations which were injected into haemophiliacs. I think their attitudes they were highly respected because they were seen not to be clamoring for fame. They were doing the job to help those children, and I think it was that they were respected and they were trusted because they usually were right, and when they were wrong, they said they were wrong. And there's no difficulty. I think it was that trust and respect of all of the world haemophiliologists. And that's why so many patients were flown from all around the world to be treated by them. I mean, they came from India, Greece, France, Germany, America. It must be made clear, of course, that those patients were flown in not only because of the expertise of Biggs, Macfarlane and the haemophilia doctors, but Oxford had a huge population of haemophilic boys and men. So from the ground up, the nurses understood the problem. The physiotherapists understood that the physiotherapists would not do exercise on the boys until they'd received the treatment. So there was a huge background knowledge. And of course, there were the surgeons who'd operated on so many of those young men and boys that they had a huge expertise.